Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my October reading wrap-up, so we'll talk about all the books that I read in October of 2023. I'm filming this in kind of a rush, so I'm just going to hop straight into this video. So the first two books that I finished in October, I had actually been reading them throughout September, and I wish they could have bulked up my September reading wrap-up, but they didn't, so they made it onto this list, and that is because they're chunky beasts, and, you know, as long as they're somewhere and I finish them, that's all that matters. So the first book that I actually finished in October is Winter by Marissa Meyer. So this is the final book in the main part of the Madoran Chronicles. I was buddy reading this with Abby from Abby Lucy the Book Lover, and honestly, I just really enjoyed this book. This was a reread for me, and I think I did enjoy it more the first time that I read it, just because I didn't really know what was going on. But I found that this time it hurt me more when other things happened because I knew what was coming next. And I was like, whoa! Wow, that's just like the last time that happens, and then something more traumatic is going to happen later, because that's just what happens in these sort of books. They just want to hurt you on the last book. So yes, I don't really want to talk about what the plot of this one is about because it is spoilers for the rest, but all of the main characters of the previous books sort of come together in this one, and I don't know, it is like the finale that I wanted it to be. I do think that the end of it is quite rushed, but I also still just really enjoyed it anyway. And yeah, this book is about 800 pages long, and 600 of those pages is like, oh fuck, what's happening to that character now? This character's in trouble. Oh, we're moving on to the next character and they're in trouble now. So, you know, it's not good for your nerves, but it's good. Yeah. So I ended up giving this one 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I previously rated it 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so for the next book, I want you all to be really proud of me, because I'm proud of me, and I needed to finish this book, and I finally did. It's Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. You never have to see this on a TBR of me going, I don't know what happens. I need to finish this ever again. I mean, I will reread it, so it will be on a TBR again, but I will be rereading it rather than just procrastinating reading it, because I didn't want to find out what pain and suffering was going to happen in this book, and there was plenty of pain and suffering. This book had so many moments that just had me bawling. I was crying so very hard at many things that happened. I'm a little bit traumatized by it, but like in a good way, and I just want all of the babies in this book to be happy, even Kale. I will be honest though, there was a character that actually annoyed me more than Kale in this book, and I feel like that's like difficult to say, and it was Adian, because fuck you, Adian. I mean, I forgave him by the end, but I will never forget. I'll never forget what you did, Adian. Honestly, I just have so many feelings, and I'm sad that this particular story is over. I'm gonna reread it. I've already got plans to reread it, because of course I have. Hopefully it won't take me so long next time. It's good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. No one's surprised. So the next book that I read was a reread, and that was Akane by Lynette Noni. I've decided to reread this series because of the new book that is coming out, which is Caldorus, which I think is a set of short stories that is set like around Christmas time in the world of the Madoran Chronicles. The Madoran Chronicles is kind of a series that is just like, I don't know, I want to say like a comfort series. It's very easy to read, and I like Alex as a character. I've just realised that I didn't say what this is about. It's about a girl who goes through a portal into a world, and she ends up in what is essentially a magic school, and there's bad stuff going on as well as like general school stuff, and that's like kind of a comforting thing to read, especially in winter for some reason. I don't know, it was just vibes. And I enjoyed rereading it, so I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I also found it really fun to reread this, knowing what is going to happen later and knowing specific things about certain characters. I'm like, oh, I know what's gonna happen to you. Also, how my perspective has changed on certain characters in this book, because DC in this book is just really, she's something, and then in later books she's like a great character, so it's just really interesting to see how they develop. So the next book that I read was The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I mean, it was October, it was time. It's like the perfect time to read a cozy, witchy kind of book. I was buddy reading this with Emily from Novel Novels, and we had a ton of fun doing it, and it was just kind of the exact vibes that I needed. It was very cozy in like a town where witches and humans coexist, even though the humans don't know that the witches are there. There's like a university, and half of it's for witches and half of it's not. And there's a lot of magical things that go awry. The main story of the book is that like 9 years before the book is set, this witch and her boyfriend, who is also a witch, break up, and she sort of casts a curse on him that bad things will happen, and the next time that he returns 9 years later, bad things happen. But it's fun! It was a second chance romance, and I don't usually love second chance romances, but I think it worked here. Although I do think that the second half of the book, like, the two main characters kind of forgot about what else was going on because they were more interested in each other, and then at the end they were like, oh yeah, no, we have to fix this thing. So it took away from it a tiny weeny bit because they, you know, there's bad things happening, maybe sort out those things before you, like, get down and dirty with it. Like, come on, come back, brains engage, brain engage. I know the blood's somewhere else, but, like, bring it back. So anyway, I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars and I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be reading the sequel. So the next book that I picked up was Death Troopers by Joe Schreiber. This is actually a Star Wars novel, and I picked it up because I've been wanting to read like a zombie book for a while, and then I was like, zombie stormtroopers? Sign me up. No, really sign me up, because it was really cool and I actually really enjoyed it. This book is about a prison ship that find an abandoned star cruiser and they go onto it, and some people may happen to bring back a virus that kills most of the people on the ship and turns them into ravenous zombies. So it's not great for the people who aren't dead yet, but honestly I really just enjoyed it, and it was far better written than I expected it to be. I thought it was kind of going to be a bit, I don't know, tropey. I mean, it was a little bit tropey, but it was still fun. And it also featured some characters from the films, which I hadn't been expecting at all. I thought this was just going to be a completely random side story, and it wasn't. So that was fun, and I just, if you like zombies, if you like Star Wars, you should read this book because it was actually really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So the next book I read in October was Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna Maguire. This is a reread, and it is the second book in the Wayward Children series. This one follows Jack and Jill as they journey into their portal world. It's a very dark, grimy place where there's like science and magic working against each other, and I mean the world is just unpleasant, and it's nice to see what these characters did in their portal world after reading the first book. I ended up giving this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is a downgrade from the last time that I read it. I like it, I just don't love it, and there's something about it that I just didn't really connect with this time. You know, it was fun enough. So the next book that I decided to read was Camila by J. Sheridan Le Fanu. I don't know why I decided to read this one. I was feeling the Halloween vibes, and I hadn't really read anything, and I thought, I've not read Camila, and I feel like I should because it is a classic, and I haven't really read many classics this year, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna. So I did. Honestly, I just really enjoyed it as a classic vampire tale. There was some, like, creepy elements to it. It's kind of what you'd expect. Honestly, I think it's really hard when you go back and read a classic of a particular type of genre because you see so many things done in more modern books and you go, oh, well, that's just like a common thing. And at the time when this was written, you go, oh, well, that would have been like amazing, it would have been really creepy and it would have been really original, and you know, it's not now. So you do have to kind of contextualize that when you read something like that. But I enjoyed it, and I like that it kind of had sapphic elements to it, so that was fun. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next up I read Nights of the Living Dead, which is a sort of compilation of short stories about zombies and about like the start of the apocalypse more so than later on in the apocalypse. I'm going to be totally honest and say that I don't remember 99% of these stories. I remember one of them. No, I remember snippets from other ones, and some of them were okay, and some of them were just not good. Like, they weren't interesting at all, and I was kind of like, let's just get through this story and on to the next one. I actually only really liked one of the stories, and that was about a zookeeper who, like, on day 1 of the apocalypse is just going to work, and she keeps thinking about her animals while there's like zombies around and zombies outside, and I just thought that was really interesting. I do believe that the character is autistic coded as well, and like she's like so thinking about the animals the whole way through. It's just really nice to see, and I really enjoyed that because as someone who would spend like the first day of the zombie apocalypse looking for my cat, I feel, you know, I felt that. I mean, if I was in a zombie apocalypse, let's be honest, I'd be dead straight away because lots of reasons, but yeah, I'd be dead, so, you know, might as well look for my cat. Anyway, I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars, but if I could give that individual story a 5 out of 5 stars, then I would. But I can't, so the general whole book gets 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I picked up a book called Fun House by Diane Ho, and this one is about a town that sort of has an economy that is run around a fun fair, and it starts off with a roller coaster crash where someone dies and other people are sort of being picked off as we go. It's like a standard slasher, but like slightly less fun than ones that you'd watch, I suppose. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was enjoyable enough, but it was really predictable, and I did guess who the murderer was, so. And the last book that I read in October was called Jameson by Gillian Quinn, and this book I will admit that I picked up simply because it began with a J. and I'm trying to complete my A to Z challenge for the year, and I didn't have a book that started with J, so J. I have forgotten a lot about this book. Couldn't even tell you what it's about. I'm actually going to look it up because I don't remember anything about it. Oh yeah. Alright. It's about a woman whose dad was a famous hockey player, and she works with like a bunch of hockey players, and a guy who's friends with somebody who works in hockey, and he's like a nerdy gamer, and they sort of get together, and he has work problems and she has work problems, and it's very cringe and very, I'm not like other girls and I'm not like other guys. I'm 99% sure that they literally say the words, "You're not like other girls." And my brain wanted to explode. I was reading this book and I just was dying inside. If you could have seen me as I was reading it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Why am I reading this? It was free on Audible. That's why I was reading it. So I gave this book 1 star, and I think this may be the only book that I have given 1 star this year. I'm not surprised. It was really bad. Well, okay, it wasn't really bad. It was like fine, but I hated it. So, like, I'm not saying don't read it, I'm just saying that I really didn't think that it was good, and it hurt my brain to sort of accept the stupid situations that were happening, because there were just many stupid things, and I hated both of the characters, and I just hated the entire time that I was reading it. Maybe if you read this you might have a different opinion, but my opinion was 1 star, and I will not be changing that. So there we have it. Those are the books that I read in October. If you made it this far into the video, then please leave me a zombie emoji. And if there's not a zombie emoji, any type of Halloween emoji will do. I will take it. That was very much the theme of my reading this month. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!